call, please.
Operator, I've been dialing Mary Hill 40098 for the last 3/4 of an hour, and the line is always busy. But I don't see how it could be busy that long. Will you try it for me, please?
Moorhill 40098. One moment, please.
I don't see how it could be busy all the time. It's my husband's office. He's working late tonight and I'm all alone here in the house. My health is very poor, and I've been feeling so nervous all day.
Ringing Moorhill 40098.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Who is this?
Hello, George.
Yes, sir.
Hello? Who is this? What number am I calling? Please!
We have heard from our client. He says the close is clear for tonight.
Yes, sir.
Where are you now?
In a phone booth.
Okay, you know the address. At 11 o'clock, the private patrolman goes around to the bar on 2nd Avenue for a beer. Be sure that all the lights downstairs are out. There should be only one light visible from the street. At 11:15, a subway train crosses the bridge. It makes a noise in case your window is open, and she should scream.
Okay, I understand.
Make it quick. As little blood as possible. Our client does not wish to make her suffer long.
A knife, okay, sir?
Yes, a knife will be okay. And remember, remove the rings and bracelets and the jewelry and the bureau drawer. Our client wishes it to look like a simple robbery.
Okay, I get.
How awful! How unspeakably!
Your call, please.
Operator, I just been cut off.
I'm sorry, madam. What number were you calling?
Why, it was supposed to be Murray Hell 40098, but it wasn't. Some wires must have caused me to cut into a wrong number, and I've just heard the most dreadful thing. A murder! Operator, you simply have to trace that call at once.
I beg your pardon, madam. I don't
Oh,
quite...
I know it was a wrong number, and I had no business listening to it, but these two men, they were cold-blooded fiends. And some poor innocent woman in a house near a bridge, and we've got to stop them. We've got to.
What number were you calling, madam?
That doesn't matter. This was a wrong number, and you dialed it. And we've got to find out who it was immediately.
But madam...
Oh, why are you so stupid? Look, it was obviously a case of some little slip of the finger. I told you to try Murray Hill 40098. You dialed it, but I was connected with some other number, and I could hear them, but they couldn't hear me. Now I simply fail to see why you couldn't make that same mistake again on purpose. Why you couldn't try to dial Murray Hill 40098 in the same careless sort of way.
Moorhill 40098. I'll try to get it for you, madam.
Thank you.
I am sorry, madam. Moorhill 40098 is busy.
Operator! Operator!
Yes, madam?
You didn't try to get that wrong number at all. I asked you explicitly, and all you did was dial correctly.
I'm sorry, madam. What number were you calling?
Can't you for once forget what number I was calling and do something specific? Now I want you to trace that call. It's my civic duty. It's your civic duty to apprehend those dangerous killers. And if you won't...
I will connect you with the chief operator.
Please.
This is the chief operator.
Chief Operator, I want you to trace a call, a telephone call, immediately. I don't know who was making it or where it came from, but it's absolutely necessary that it be tracked down, because it was about a murder. Yes, a terrible cold-blooded murder of a poor innocent woman, tonight, at 11:15.
I see.
Can you trace it for me? Can you track down those men?
It depends, madam.
Depends on what?
It depends on whether the call is still going on. If it's a live call, we can trace it on the equipment. If it's been disconnected, we can't.
Disconnected?
If the parties stopped talking to each other.
Oh, but of course they must have stopped talking to each other by now. That was at least 5 minutes ago, and they didn't sound like the type who would make a long call.
Well, I can try tracing it now. What is your name, madam?
Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Stevenson. But
And your
listen,
telephone number?
Plaza 42295. But if you go wasting all this
And
time,
what is your reason for wanting this call traced?
my reason? Well, for heaven's sake, isn't it obvious? I overheard two men. They're killers. They're planning to murder this innocent woman. It's a matter for the police.
Have you told the police?
No. How could I?
You're making this call check purely as a private individual?
Yes. But meanwhile...
Well, Mrs. Stevenson, I seriously doubt whether we could make this check for you at this time just on your say-so private individual. We'd have to have something more official.
Well, for heaven's sake, you mean to tell me I can't report a murder without getting tied up in all this red tape? Why, it's perfectly idiotic. Alright then, I will call the police. Ridiculous.
Your call, please.
The police department, please.
Ringing the police department.
Police Department, Precinct 43, Duffy speaking.
Police department, this is Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Stevenson of 53 North Sutton Place. I'm calling to report a murder.
Eh?
I mean, the murder hasn't been committed yet. I just overheard plans for it over the phone. Over wrong number that the operator gave me. I've been trying to trace down the call myself, but everybody here is just so stupid. And I guess in the end, judging like people who couldn't do anything.
Yes, ma'am.
It was a perfectly definite murder. I heard their plans distinctly. Two men were talking about murdering some woman tonight at 11:15. She lived in a house near a bridge.
Yes, ma'am.
There was a private patrolman on the street. He was going to go around for a beer on 2nd Avenue, and there was a third man who was paying to have this poor woman murdered. They were going to take her rings and bracelets and use a knife. Well, it's unnerved me dreadfully, and I'm not well.
I see. When was all this, ma'am?
It was about 8 minutes ago. Oh, and then you can do something, can you? I mean, you do understand.
And what is your name, ma'am?
Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Stevenson.
And your address, ma'am?
53 North Sutton Place. That's near Bridge, the Queensboro Bridge. You know, we have a park patrolman on 2nd Avenue.
And what was that number you're calling?
Murray Hill 40098. But that wasn't the number I overheard. I mean, Murray Hill 40098 is my husband's office. He's working late tonight and I've been reaching him to come home. I'm an invalid, you know. And it's the mate's night off. And I hate to be all alone. Even though he says I'm perfectly capable with a telephone right beside my bed.
Well, we'll look into it, Mrs. Stevenson, and we'll check it in with the telephone company.
But the telephone company said that they couldn't check the call if the parties stopped talking. I've taken care of that.
Oh,
Personally, I feel you ought to do something far more immediate and drastic than just check the call. What good does checking the call do if they've stopped talking? By the time you track it down, they'll already have committed a murder.
well, we'll take care of it, lady. Don't worry.
I'd say the whole thing calls for a search, a complete and thorough search of the city. I'm very near a bridge and I'm not far from 2nd Avenue, and I know I'd feel a whole lot better if you sent a radio call to this neighborhood at once.
And what makes you think this murder is gonna be committed, ma'am?
Oh, I don't know. This coincidence is so horrible. 2nd Avenue, the patrolman, the bridge.
Well, 2nd Avenue is a long street, ma'am, and Do you happen to know how many digits there are in your alone? Not to mention this Brooklyn, Staten Island, Queens, and the Bronx. How do you know there is some little house on Staten Island or whatever place on some little Second Avenue? How do you know they're even talking about New York at all?
But I heard the call, the New York dialing system.
How do you know it wasn't a long distance call that you overheard? Telephones are funny things. Look, lady, why don't you put it this way? Suppose you hadn't broken in on a telephone call and you'd get your husband like you always had. Would this murder have made any difference to you then?
I suppose not. It's so inhuman. So cold-blooded.
A lot of murders are committed in this city every day, ma'am. If we could do something to stop them, we would. But a clue of this kind that's so vague isn't much more of use to us than no clue at all.
But surely...
Unless, of course, you may have some reason for thinking that this call might be phony and that someone may be planning to murder you.
Me? Oh no, I don't think so. I shouldn't, buddy. I see nobody except my maid and Louise. She's a big 200-pounder and she's too lazy to bring my breakfast tray. And the only other person is my husband Albert. He's crazy about me, adores me, bites on me hand and foot. He's causing that much since I took sick 12 years ago.
Well then, there's just absolutely nothing for you to worry about, is there? Now, if you'll just leave the rest to
What
us.
will you do? It's so late. It's nearly 11 o'clock.
We'll take care of it, lady.
Broadcast it all over the city and send out squads and warn your radio cars to watch out for suspicious neighborhoods like mine.
Lady, I said we'll take care of it. Just now, I've got a couple more other matters here on my desk that require my immediate...
Idiot. Now why did I do that? Oh, thinking of my phone. Oh, why doesn't Albert come home? Why wasn't he?
Your call, please.
Operator, will you dial that Murray Hill 40098 again? I can't think what's keeping him so long.
Ringing Moore Hill 40098. The line is busy, madam.
Oh,
Shall I?
You don't have to tell me. I know it's busy. Oh, if I could only get out this bed for a little while. If I could get a breath of fresh air. See the streets. Oh. Oh. Hello? Albert? Hello? 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 Oh, what's the matter with this phone? Hello? Hello? What's wrong with this phone? Hello? Hello? Oh.
Your call, please.
Hello? Operator? I don't know what's the matter with this telephone tonight, but it's positively driving me crazy. I've never seen such inefficient, miserable service. Now look, I'm an invalid and I'm not supposed to be annoyed by now, but if this keeps on much
What
longer...
seems to be the trouble, madam?
Well, everything's wrong. The whole world could be murdered for all you people care. And my phone keeps ringing.
Yes, madam?
Ringing and ringing and ringing every 5 seconds or so. And when I pick it up, there's no one there.
I'm sorry, madam. If you will hang up, I will test it for you.
I don't want you to test it for me. I want you to put through that call, whatever it is, at once.
I am afraid that is not possible, madam.
Not possible? And why, may I ask?
The system is automatic, madam. If someone is trying to dial your number, there's no way to check whether the call is coming to the system or not, unless the person who is reaching you complains to his particular
Well,
operator.
all of this stupid, complicated, and meanwhile to sit here in my bed, suffering every time that phone rings, imagining everything.
I will try to check it for you, madam.
Check it, check it. That's all anybody could do. Of all the stupid, idiotic. Oh, what's the use? Hello? Hello? Stop ringing! Do you hear me? What do you want? Answer me! Do you realize you're driving me crazy? Stop
Hello?
staring!
Is this Plaza 4-2295?
Yes, this is Plaza 42295.
This is Western Union. I have a telegram here for Mrs. Albert Stevenson. Is there anyone there to receive the message?
I am Mrs. Stevenson.
The telegram is as follows. Mrs. Albert Stevenson, 53 North Sutton Place, New York, New York. Darling, terribly sorry. Tried to get you for last hour, but line busy. Leaving for Boston 11 p.m. tonight on urgent business. Back tomorrow afternoon. Keep happy, love. Signed, Albert.
Oh no.
That is all, madam. Do you wish us to deliver a copy of the message?
No. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Good night.
Good night. No. I couldn't do it. Nobody knows I'll be all alone. It's some trick. Some fiendish.
Call, please.
Operator, try that Murray Hill 40098 for me. Just once more. Please.
Bringing Warrior Hill 40098.
Gone. Oh, Albert. How could you? How could you? But I can't be alone tonight. I can't. If I'm alone one more second, I don't care what he says or what the expense is. I'm a sick woman. I'm entitled.
Hensley Hospital, good evening.
Nurses Registry.
Who is it you wish to speak to, please?
I want the nurses registry. I want a trained nurse. I want to hire her for tonight.
I see. And what is the nature of the case, madam?
Nerves. I'm very nervous tonight. I need soothing and companionship. My husband is away.
Have
and
you been recommended to us by any doctor in particular, madam?
No. But I don't see why all this catechizing is necessary. I was a patient in your hospital 2 years ago, and after all, I do expect to pay this
We
person.
quite understand that, madam, but registered nurses are very scarce just now, and our superintendent has asked us to send people out only on cases where the physician in charge feels it is absolutely necessary.
Well, it is absolutely necessary. I'm a sick woman. I'm very nervous. Very. I'm alone in this house and I'm an invalid. And tonight I heard the most dreadful telephone conversation ever. It was about a murder. A poor woman was going to be murdered at 11:15 tonight. And I'm afraid that if someone doesn't come at once, I might go out of my mind.
I see. Well, I'll speak to Miss Phillips as soon as she comes in. And what is your name, madam?
Miss Phillips. And when do you expect her in?
I really don't know, madam. She went out to supper at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock? But it's not 11 yet. Oh, my clock has stopped. I thought it was running down. What time is it?
Just 14 minutes past 11.
What's that?
What was what, madam?
That click just now in my own telephone, as though someone had lifted the receiver of the hook of the extension phone downstairs.
I didn't hear it, madam. Now, about
I
this...
did! There's someone in this house! Someone downstairs in the kitchen that they can hear me! I won't pick it up. I won't let them hear me. If I don't call someone now while they're still down there, there'll be no more time.
Your call, please.
Operator, I'm in desperate trouble.
I cannot hear you, madam. Please speak louder.
I don't dare. There's someone in this house. Can you hear me now?
Your call, please. What number are you calling, madam?
You've got to hear me. Oh, please. You've got to help me. There's someone in this house. Someone who's going to murder me. And you've got to get in touch with him. Oh, he's down. He's put down a grenade. You need to get a police department.
Ringing the police department.
Police Department, Precinct 43, Daphne speaking.
Sorry, wrong number.